Hello. Those grafts really grew in. Used to be a crabapple tree. It's kind of exciting. Nice pond. Ooh, blackberries. Yum. Mmm. Just had some cold rain. Everything's cold. Mmm. Love when it rains. Mmm. It's my Royal Empire apple tree. This used to be a crabapple tree, but I grafted it 2 years ago. Probably way too many apples. Just don't want that scion to shear off. This used to be a Bradford pear. Now it's an Anjou pear. Those ones are pretty big. Oh, wow, look at that blackberry. That's what I'm talking about. These are huge. Delicious. Mmm. Oh, thanks, Narissa. It's my little escape from the world. Yeah, these blackberries are good. Can't wait till my apples are ripe. Can't believe this peach tree already has fruits. 2 years ago, someone dug up a little peach sucker that was growing next to their peach tree, and it already has fruit. So a lot of people say you can't grow peaches from a peach pit very quickly, and this is evidence you can. Where am I? I'm in Independence, Missouri, so I'm zone 6. So here apples do really well, blackberries, pears, peaches, cherries, strawberries. Looks like this peach tree is doing pretty decent too. Looking for fruits, I don't see any. Garlic's doing real well. Looks like it's about ready to harvest. It was looking a lot prettier before it got into the 90s. Yes, or today it was like 96 degrees right before it rained. It's hard to imagine it was so hot earlier. We just had a downpour and it's, I don't know, like 75 degrees out here. It feels amazing compared to, 95 with 70% humidity like it was earlier. Do I have mangoes? Nope, no mangoes. They would not like my winters here. I lived in Arizona a few years ago and I had mangoes and lots of citrus and things like that, but this new homestead is more things like apples and cherries and things like that. Ooh, strawberry. Lots of black raspberries too. They're just about out of season though. Thought I had a few left. Yeah, I keep working for it. Having a little bit of land, even if it's a little bit, just start small, and it's just so much fun just to have a little plot. This is my fig trees. What, darling? Oh, I was letting it dry off because it got covered with rain. I tried to sit down and I got all wet. It's recording. The plant's really pretty with all the raindrops on them. This is actually a fig from Arizona. This is a panache fig. It's variegated, so it has little beautiful stripes on it. I love the look of that fig. But I had no idea stuff like this would survive in Missouri. But survived the winter. We'll see if I get any fruit on it. That's the only problem with figs is they'll do great. You just struggle getting fruit because it takes like 3 months for the fruit to ripen properly. So you need the figs to form, and then you need them to be on the... Yeah, figs are edible. Well, they're edible to me. That's a funny question. My kids don't really like figs, but I love figs. Yeah, like, have you ever had like fig Newtons? I don't know, what else do people use figs for? But I like figs. Oh, these red ones. Those are gonna be black soon. This one's an ARC 45, so it has massive thorns, but I use it as like a perimeter plant to discourage, people from trespassing. These are my Jerusalem artichokes. Kind of look like sunflowers, except they make little tubers like potatoes. And the flowers look like sunflowers. Can't wait for those guys. Ooh, I just saw lightning in the distance. Yeah, look at all these. So this is another one I bark grafted. This is the rootstock is a Bradford pear, but I put a giant Asian pear scion here and a Bartlett scion here, and so now I have all these much larger giant Asian pears coming in on this side, and then on the other side, I don't see any Bartlett pears yet, but I grafted these last year. They're just growing incredibly fast because you're kind of forcing all the nutrients from that, you know, mature rootstock to go into these little tiny pencil thick scions, and so they just blow up like a balloon. They increase the size like 10 to 20 fold in 1 year. It's pretty crazy. Hoping they don't break. Had a couple over here that the grafts didn't survive, so I had to cut them down. But this one sent up a new little baby sucker, so I'll just have to regraft this one. Carrots are all flowering. I can't wait to collect all these carrot seeds. Okay. Yeah, do you need me to grab something? Yeah.
You see that pink one coming up over there?
Ooh, I want to see. Pink flower?
The pink.
You can just put it right here. I'll throw it all away in a second.
Be careful, there's pokey. That's why the plastic's over it.
Okay. Oh, like these peach ones? That's pretty.
Pink. You missed it.
Oh, wow. I did miss it. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Pink gladiolas.
I love all the colors. And you have some names.
And I got these peach ones right here.
This is sad though.
I'm glad these got a good rain. They were really struggling with the lack of rain for like 3 weeks straight. Man, those purple ones are crazy. I dug up bulbs last year and just broke them apart into little mini gladiolas. Now I just have a gladiola paradise right here. And I have some lilies. I'm kind of a foodscaper, but my wife really likes flowers, and so I kind of gave in and dedicated this front area for flowers and colors and things like that. Making sure I deadheaded all these properly. It's kind of funny because last year, Marco, that's funny. Last year, last year I had someone steal my gladiolas. It was crazy. Like I had on my security cam in the middle of the night. No joke. Someone came into my yard and like with a cookie sheet and scissors and just like stole like, I don't know, like 20 gladiola flowers and just ran off the street. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning on my camera. I came outside and like half the flowers were cut, and I was like asking my wife, I was like, hey babe, did you make like a bouquet of flowers or something? And she didn't know what I was talking about, so I looked on the security camera. Yeah, aren't the purple ones cool? I like to deadhead these so I get more baby bulbs. Otherwise they'll make a whole bunch of seeds, and sometimes it's fun to do the seeds, but they're like really low germination. And these lilies are cool. This is my black raspberry hedge right here. All yellow flowers. Purple ones. Those are called Asiatic lilies. I have an elderberry that keeps popping up in the middle of my... Oh, caterpillar. Sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to disturb you. Yeah, these black raspberries, yeah, are all... But I started digging up these black raspberries that were growing over this edge here and transplanting them over here along this sidewalk. So I'm gonna have tons of black raspberries over here too, in front of my little apple orchard. All right, time to go in the vineyard. These are all little baby currant cuttings. I'm not a big fan of currants, but a lot of people like to buy them. I made some currant jam though, it's pretty decent. Just a very acquired taste. The jam has a really strong, earthy flavor. I call it like a beef stew berry or something. It's really funky. If you've ever had fresh black currants. Ooh, these bee bombs, these things are huge. Wow, those smell amazing. This fresh rain. And these elderberries. This flowers kind of got ravaged by the Thank you. I love the elderberry. It's antiviral. You can make an antiviral syrup with it. Look at these little bugs. Ooh, nice. This is a mustard plant. So I scattered some mustard seeds. And so I'm harvesting the seeds pods so I can make mustard. But I just kind of just chaos seed everything around. So I'll just randomly have things popping up. It's kind of fun to see what I get. So the mustard seeds. If you soak those in water for a few minutes, then you can eat them. They're kind of mustardy. It's interesting though, because they're not mustardy right away. You got to kind of soak them. Ooh, look at all these raspberries. These are red ones. Big old fat red heritage. Big blood red, that's crazy. Man, that's suspiciously good. These blackberries too. Ooh, big fatty. You guys ever do that when you see a giant blackberry? You just have to devour it. Oh. So delicious. Whoa. Wind kind of pushed over my blackberry right here. Ooh, firefly. Not glowing yet. All those got knocked off by the wind. These are all little elderberry flowers that got knocked off of this elderberry flower cluster. Like, looks like confetti or something. Ooh, firefly. Hey, little buddy. You see him glowing there? That's adorable. Come on, camera, focus. Ooh, I hear thunder. Cute little buddy. Oh, I scared him away. Ooh, look at this guy taking shelter from the rain. Happy little bumblebee. Let's see how my grapevines are doing. Oh, hey, MZ. I watch your videos all the time. I miss Arizona. We just had a massive rain, so everything's all pretty and shiny. These are all Labrusca grapes. We got a pretty good fruit set this year. Oh, this one fell off. Here, it got too heavy. Let's get some ties. Man, look at all these grapes. That is exciting. I'm gonna need more T-posts. This one's just super weighed down. It's like 20 pounds of fruit right here. Thanks, Narissa. That's nice to say. I kind of go out here whenever I get stressed out after work and just wander around until I feel less stressed out. It's a nice little paradise. Oh, nice. Hopefully you guys get some of this rain that's going through the Midwest right now. I don't know if you will. It's nice you're helping with the wildfire, though. Just be careful. Man, look at all these grapes back here hiding. That's exciting. I can't wait to make jam. I love Concord. Yeah, Concord. Concord grapes are my favorite. And I think these ones are very similar to Concord. These are Himrods, which are kind of like Concords. And I have Reliance grapes and Suffolk grapes. But they're all like that foxy flavor like you get when you have, what are they called? Welch's grape juice. Not that I'm sponsored by Welch's, but if they want to sponsor me, that'd be cool. Just kidding, Welch's, you don't have to. More clusters over here. That's fun. Last year I didn't really get that many grapes because it was my first year these things fruited, and a lot of the clusters I kind of picked off because I didn't want the vines to break. So I'm on second year, kind of realizing I probably should have thinned some of these clusters because, like, if you look how thin these trunks are, let me show you. Like these trunks, they're still pretty small. Like some of these shoots are almost as big as the trunk, so they're still pretty immature. So it's probably a little bit reckless to let them have this much fruit. But I just got excited, so I just let them do their thing. You know how it is when your plant babies are making fruit and you're like, do I want to knock these off, or I just want to let them see them do what they're going to do, and then you just kind of let your plant babies do their thing. Hey, buddy. Fireflies are out. These things are so cool because I lived in Arizona before I was here, and they didn't really have fireflies, so it's really fun to see these little guys. I don't know if the camera's focusing on them. They're hovering around my face, kind of like mosquitoes, but they're fireflies. This little beetle right here. They just kind of hover around. And I found out recently that fireflies will actually lay their eggs on slugs and snails, and their larvas, sounds gross, but they'll actually eat them alive. So if you don't like slugs, let your fireflies lay eggs on them. Oh, I have so many bees and butterflies, especially with mulch. I have a couple friends that are arborists, tree cutter guys, and I just tell them whenever this pile looks low, go ahead and dump another load. So whenever instead of going to the gym, I'll just come out and transport, 10 or 20 loads of mulch from the piles to whatever plant looks like it wants mulch the most. And that's my little gym workout. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Concords are pretty good. It's weird to have the slip skins because I totally get what you're saying, because when I was in Arizona, I had mostly like the Vitis vinifera, the vinifera grapes that are like the French or European or whatever that's called. And then I more recently, since they thrive here, got some of the Labrusca, the Foxy grapes that are American grapes, and they have slip skin, so it's kind of funky when you bite into them. The inside of the grape just kind of pops out, and so it kind of throws you off, you know, when you're eating grapes, just to have the inside pop out of the outside. It reminds me of these little fruits I used to have, and as a kid, I lived in Venezuela, and they had these little, I think they're called mimosas or something, and they were like this little fruit, and it tasted like a orange kind of, and it was like this hard seed that had this like fleshy deliciousness on them, and you just kind of popped them out. They're yummy though. These are maypops, so this is native passion fruit. They have a native variety that survives the winter, pops up in May, and goes nuts. I love these fruits though, and so does my 4-year-old. She'll just go nuts. I showed her these last year, and she literally ate like, I think I had 8 or 9 of them growing. I was excited to wait for them to ripen all the way, and I told her, oh, those will be ripe soon, and I turned my back and I'm working on mulch or something, and come back and she stripped the entire passion vine of all the fruits, and she'd hollowed them out and eaten them all. So I mean, they didn't go to waste, but she didn't wait for them to get fully ripe. She just kind of ate them while they were like half sour, like sweet tarts, because she just thought they were like candy. So she ate all my passion fruits. So I'm hoping this year I get a few more. But yeah, I've been digging up the suckers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 suckers. I dug up one and put it by this tree. This cottonwood's ridiculous. So there's one that's finally perking up. I planted it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was really struggling because I didn't have very much roots on it. But I'm hoping eventually it'll climb this ridiculously tall tree. I'd love to have this entire tree just covered with passion fruits. That'd be so cool, just to have it raining passion fruits. And then by this fence over here, where's it at? There it is. But this little guy right here, little passion fruit. But this particular variety is Passiflora incarnata, so it's not Passiflora edulis like a lot of people have in tropical areas. Like when I was in Arizona, I had Passiflora edulis, which is like a purple, it ripens purple. These ones, when they ripen, they go from being green to being yellow, so they're not as flashy or as pretty, but I actually think the flavor is a little bit better. They're a little bit less sour, a little bit more, what's the word? Warm flavored. But it's the same, kind of reminds you of Hawaiian punch. So this blackberry is a black gem. Man, these things are good. I feel bad eating while I'm talking. These things are ridiculous. It's like almost a whole mouthful. But yeah, the birds love this bird bath. It actually helps because a couple years ago, my strawberries were just getting eaten by the birds, and then putting in this bird bath just saves my strawberries, because thirsty birds, you know, looking for juicy things to eat, and this helps a lot. At first they'd still eat the strawberries, and I actually painted some rocks red to make my strawberries seem less delicious, and so now the birds come over here and get water. And I put the lily pads in here, planted these are actually real. I got the little bulbs on Amazon, but they'll shade the water a little bit so the water doesn't get too hot. And the reason I did that is I have little fish in here, because I'll get mosquito larvas. Ooh, you hear thunder. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if my phone's picking up that thunder. Yeah, if you have with blackberries, if you have the everbearing kind, it's fun because on the tips, you'll get the fruit that's going to come probably like July or August. Well, those might come sooner than that. And on the previous year's growth, as you probably know, you'll have all those. So you get kind of like 2 or 3 waves of fruit. It's just fun to just always have something, because we have a lot of people at my church that don't really have yards or don't have fresh fruit. So we're always inviting people over to just come over and pick stuff. Oh, My potatoes are doing okay right here. My potatoes were on the struggle bus over here. I think I used too much mulch and stripped all the nitrogen or something because they're not doing too hot, but over here they seem to be doing well with all the weeds, so whatever that means. Oh wow, look at this big one. It's always fun when you get like the giant ones. This is another black gem. Oh. Wow, that was sweet. I love how well this one roots too, because it'll sends these little suckers out. And I love more plants because black gems are kind of expensive, and so the fact that they're voluntarily making free plants everywhere is very convenient for my little food forest right here. This one right here is a wild plum. So someone was telling me how this was a really big native fruit-bearing plant in Missouri, but they kind of are going extinct in the wild. And Bradford pears are kind of taking over. And so there's a movement to try to like transplant native fruit-bearing things back into the wild to try to restore the balance or whatever. So I put one back here just so I could start getting the fruit, because when you have the fruit, you got the seeds, and when you have the seeds, you can kind of contribute to chaos seeding the, nature's natural food-bearing plants. And so I'm gonna experiment a little bit with that. Also with grafting, I really want to see what kind of things can be supported by this native plum rootstock. And over here I have a black cherry. This is nostalgic for me because growing up my dad would always get this soda. So I don't know if anyone who's listening is familiar with black cherry soda, but there's a soda called black cherry soda. I think it was like by Shasta or something. So this is back in the 90s, super popular. Nowadays I tell my kids about it and no one knows what I'm talking about. But black cherry soda was like my favorite soda in the world. And this particular tree is black cherry tree. So I'm excited to get my first fruit. It doesn't look like any of my flowers survived. I did have a few flower clusters and I was excited that I was gonna get berries, and the flower clusters just fell off. So I think the tree is just too small because I literally planted it 2 years ago. A little tiny whip of a tree, and it's growing really fast. And I bet my neighbors think I'm crazy because I keep most of my trees smaller, because I'll get my ladder and I'll go to the top with my weed whacker and I just kind of trim the top of the canopies to keep the trees all reasonably sized. But I'm excited to get black cherries someday. This is my Fuji apple tree. These things are growing pretty big. This is one of my sources of scion material. So when I do grafting grafting on crabapple trees, like this guy right here, I took scion material from my Fuji, and another one from my Gala. And that's crazy how fast they grow. I just did these scions back in 22, so in 3 years, they're almost as big as the trunk was. And they have a ton of apples. They're getting pretty big already. How big those apples are. Delicious. And this one's a triple variety. I grafted 3 different varieties of apples onto this guy. This is a crabapple rootstock. You can kind of see the color difference. So this is a crabapple. You can see how they're all the same. It's just a wild type that's really successful in Missouri. I kind of went out in the wilderness and just figured out which type of crabapple is really aggressive, almost invasive. And that means it loves the climate and loves the soil here. And so using that is the perfect rootstock, since that's where I live. And then you can kind of see my whip and tongue grafts right here, color change. That's where that one was grafted. Has a little lightning bolt like Harry Potter's head. That's the graft union. And then similar over here. So I have, this one's actually a Mutsu, a Gala, and a Fuji apple. So 3 different varieties. And my Gala is just loaded down. Like, I thinned it too, believe it or not. And like, this thing looks like it's gonna fall over. So it's 3 years old. I probably took half of the little apples off myself just so that the ones on there would be a little bit bigger and also not lose any branches. And it's really weighed down. Ooh, I got some skeletonizing. Japanese beetles are out already. That's annoying. Look at those apples. And they're so pretty when it's raining. Almost looks like AI or something. This cherry tree still hasn't fruited yet. This is a what kind of cherry tree is this? These two are Bings. Rainier, couldn't think of the word. Rainier cherry tree. And these are my Bings. Bing cherry tree, and this is my strawberry patch. So just barely out of season. I probably harvested probably like 20 or 30 pounds of strawberries from this patch. It's harvesting probably like 2 or 3 pounds a day for probably about 3 weeks. And this is all June-bearing strawberries, so they're just extremely prolific for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they just grow vegetatively the rest of the year. The nice thing about them is they're prolific in creating stolons, I think is what it's called, the little above ground runners. You can kind of see them right here. And this is what I was talking about with my decoy. You just spray paint some round rocks red, and birds come over to investigate when they're looking for a water source, and they peck those rocks thinking that that's your quality of strawberries, and so they're kind of offended and they leave. But it saves your strawberries because the birds don't really want to peck rocks. They realize it's not food. It's a little bit of a decoy. These are my bush cherries. I love bush cherries. See if there's any left. So they're about 3 times as big as they were last year. And bush cherries, Nanking cherries, they normally only produce fruit on the previous year's growth. And since the bush is, 3 times as big, you really got to dig to find last year's growth. But along the stems from last year, you'll have little red cherries. They kind of look like the little red cherry candies you get at the hardware store, but they are delicious. But instead of getting the boxwoods like a lot of people want for, like a ornamental plant, I decided to go for something that would produce food. So you get beautiful flowers in the spring, and then you get, in the summer, you just get a whole bunch of little red berries, little red cherries on your hedge. And I think this is like 6 bushes, but it's super easy to propagate. You just take a low branch and bury it, and you'll just end up with little Nanking cherry suckers. And also the fruits, really high germination rate. Oh, I missed this one. Look how red this is. It's a gladiola. I love how red those are. And then back here I have ooh, look at the rainbow. I feel like that meme. What does this mean? But it's not a double rainbow, I guess. Whole bunch more black raspberries. I'm gonna throw this trash away. You guys want to come with me to throw away trash? Yeah, I love just coming out to this bench. Like if work's really stressful, I can just disappear on this bench and watch the sunset. Probably sounds super boring, but for me, it's just like, oh, it's just so relaxing. It used to be a lot prettier before all the garlic died. Well, it's dying back. It's probably about ready to be harvested. Oh, and this red romaine's a funny story. So I have red romaine everywhere, and I actually didn't plant this. So I had one red romaine plant last year that went to seed, and it seeds kind of like dandelions. Like it was just blowing seeds everywhere. And so now I have red romaine growing all through my potato patch in here. Just like thousands of plants. Red romaine. And that's all just from random seeds that blew everywhere. Just kind of chaos seeded themselves everywhere. And then these were actually onions I had in the bottom of the refrigerator. You know, you buy like green onions from the store. And my wife was gonna throw them away, and I was like, I'll take them. And so I just stuck them out here in the potato patch, and they're perking up, and probably gonna go to seed soon. Oh, and these are all grape cuttings. So I had a whole bunch of grape cuttings. Wasn't sure where to put them. So I also just kind of stuck them in my potato patch. And they just did super well. And it looks like I also have cantaloupes. So my daughter was actually eating a cantaloupe like a few months ago, and she's like, Dad, could we grow these? So I took a handful of cantaloupe seeds and walked them out to my potato patch and just kind of chucked them everywhere. And now I have random cantaloupe plants coming up. Look at these. Cantaloupe, cantaloupe, cantaloupe. It's kind of fun, the things you end up with when you just chuck seeds everywhere. I'm actually surprised how pretty these carrots are. My wife thought these were elderberry. But look how pretty those are. This is carrot. They should make tons of seeds. Little burdock. Lots of clover. And this branch fell off the other day, so I carved it up with my chainsaw to make a little bench. Waste not, want not, right? All right, I think I'm gonna go in the house. Anyone watching have any questions before I go in? I have some onions. Let me show off these onions real quick. Ooh, tomatoes too. Yay. I love tomatoes. Tomatoes are doing pretty well. This is an heirloom one I actually got from somebody. Gave me some seeds. And look at this, there's little baby heirloom tomatoes are popping up everywhere. They're the big old heirloom beefsteak ones. Look at these onion seeds. I'm excited for that too. I love the smell of onions. It's funny too, because my 4-year-old loves onions too, and she'll come out in the garden and eat a bunch of onions, and my wife will kind of get annoyed because my 4-year-old's breath will just smell like just a real reek of onions. Yeah, it snows here. I think we had a few snow days, like the kids got to stay home from school. It was like, how cold did it get? Probably got to about 0. So it gets cold enough here that most tropical plants struggle. Fig plants will kind of die down to the ground. Ooh, strawberry. I love when they get overripe like that. You can't really get them at the grocery store like that, but they're so sweet. Anyone ever watching ever do that, where you let the strawberries just get to the point where they're almost like rotting off the vine? Oh, delicious. You don't even need sugar. But yeah, I think last year we probably snowed 3 times. We actually had a blizzard. I think it snowed. I don't know. I have a video on my YouTube channel. I kind of did a drone fly around. So if you look on my channel, probably about 1.5 feet of snow that one time. And ooh, bunny. Cute. I don't know if you can see that. Cute little guy. how cute that bunny is. Happy little thing. And the other day I was watching him out the window to see if he would eat anything, and he's just going around eating the clover flowers. Kind of cute to see him scarfing. Just picked off as many flowers as it could get, and then kind of kicked its feet up in the air and ran off. Yeah, definitely when you grow strawberries yourself, they're always amazing. I don't know why. You get the ones from the grocery store and they'll be really red, like they look like they're going to be really sweet because they're so red, and then you bite into them and it's like they pick them when they're green or something. There's not nearly as much sweetness to them. But yeah, I've been making fruit leather, and what else did we make? We made some jam. But my wife got me a dehydrator, so that's been pretty fun just to make fruit leather. I'll just do like a puree of, I'll fill up the blender with berries, and then I'll do a puree and just pour it onto the little trays in the dehydrator. It's like fruit roll-ups. The only thing I noticed though is if you're not gonna eat them right away, you want to add sugar to them. It acts as a preservative and keeps them from getting mold. But if you're gonna eat them right away, you don't need, oh, squirrel. If you're gonna eat them right away, you don't really need sugar. But the sugar is an amazing preservative, and then you don't have to add any other preservatives. Kind of like how honey, you get a lot of honey and stuff. I don't think I came over here yet, did I? So more black raspberries. And I actually grafted this guy. I hope it's doing okay. I had a little pear that popped up over here. So I grafted, you can kind of see the graft union right there. I put a little Asian pear scion on top of that little guy. Let's see if it makes it. He kind of struggled the first year. Ooh, mushroom. Very slimy. Any mushroom hunters know what this is? It's not a wine cap. It smells like a meadow mushroom. I'm not gonna eat it because I'm not sure, but that's what it smells like to me. It's kind of fun just dumping all this mulch everywhere. It's another elderberry. Oh yeah, I forgot about the pond. I have a pond in the backyard. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it keeps me from getting all depressed. Lots of elderberries. Man, that wind really ravaged the elderberry flowers, though. These were super pretty, like yesterday. I mean, they're still pretty, but they were just so much bloomier looking, if that's a word. And the wind that windstorm, rainstorm we just had, just kind of knocked most of these flowers all over the place. Oh, and there's my greenhouse. I did a video about making a greenhouse. It's like pretty much all 2x4s. So I think I did like 140 2x4s. No, it was $180 worth of 2x4s. So I think they were like $3 each. But I was really excited because I saw this greenhouse I wanted at the big box store, and it was like, $4,000. So I'm like, I bet I could build that. And so I literally just got a bunch of 2x4s and just framed walls, and then had my family help me hold them up and just nailed them together and made a little greenhouse. But I ended up taking off one of the plastic walls because it was getting too hot, and putting a mosquito net on one side. So now it's like a little cabana. So it's kind of fun when the mosquitoes are crazy. You can just kind of go in there and just lounge, listen to the rain. It's kind of fun, but it makes for a boring video, so I'm not in there. Lots of elderberry. Man, look at this canopy under this black walnut tree. So this tree, believe it or not, dumps about 1,000 pounds of walnuts every year. Like, I'll fill up multiple wheelbarrows if I really wanted to gather them all. But so many squirrels are probably fed by that thing. Here's my main mulch pile. So I have a few different arborists that are always bringing mulch, and I invited most of my neighbors to come and get free wood chips. And anytime they get low, they just drop off more. So everyone on my block that likes gardening is able to get free mulch. So more grafts. And these are Bartlett's. And this is a Bradford pear stock. So this trunk right here, Bradford pear. This is what it looked like when I chopped it off. And this part that's growing is my choice Scion. And those are the Bartlett pears that are growing. It's gonna be a few months before they're ripe. So here's more. It's kind of fun too because I can recognize the leaves. And I know which kind of, like this is an Asian pear. And the leaves are all slightly different. And to confirm that, yeah, here we go. Little Asian pears. Yeah, I was kind of bummed out last year because last year I only got 2 fruits. This year I have a ton more. But last year I had 2 fruits and I watched them grow and grow and grow, and they were like about that big and they were still rock hard. So I was kind of waiting for them to soften up. And one day I came outside and you can guess what happened. Some random neighbor decided they wanted to help themselves to my pears, and so I never even got to taste to see what they tasted like. Never got to try them because someone just took them. But that's kind of what you get when you plant, fruit trees in your front yard. But eventually when I have more fruit than I can eat, it'll be nice to spark up conversations with people. But that was one of my motivations for putting these black raspberries through here. This will create a little detour, so to speak, to slow down entry. But yeah, I kind of like that because I'll be in the front yard just doing gardening stuff, and I'll have just random neighbors I didn't even know were gardeners come and talk to me and talk about plants and orchards and vineyards and all that other good stuff. And it's fun to know that you're not the only person that's crazy about plants. I don't know if you ever get that feeling where you talk to other people and they're not really plant people, and so it's like you kind of feel what's the word, like you can't talk about the stuff you love talking about. It's one of the reasons I created this YouTube channel, because I talk about plants, and if people are interested in plants, they come, and if they're not, then they don't really pop on here and have much to say unless they're trolling. Yeah, that's kind of thickening up. I'm excited to have this whole front area covered with black raspberries. Oop, I don't really want this here because this is rootstock. So if you're ever grafting and you have rootstock growing, you want to always remove that, because the tree is going to prefer to put its energy into rootstock. And you can actually lose your scion. I actually had that happen where I let too much of the rootstock grow, and the plant ended up rejecting my scion. It just withered and fell off because the plant was preferring to put energy into those suckers. So you got to make sure you're peeling those off when they pop on. And this tree is massive. All right, I'm gonna go back to the pond. Ooh, that rainbow's getting brighter. I'm surprised because the sun's setting, so that's like a sunset rainbow. It's funny how the camera doesn't really pick it up very well. Like my eyes, that rainbow is so much more vibrant to my eyes, and then my camera just doesn't do it justice. My shoes are all wet, so they're squeaking. All right, tons more blackberries over here. And I actually have a grapevine climbing my house. How crazy is that? It's kind of fun to look out the window and just see little grapes developing. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love it. It wasn't much when we moved in a few years ago, but I've planted so much stuff. I remember when I first put fruit trees in my front yard, my wife was kind of annoyed because she kind of wanted that pristine golf course looking lawn. I was digging holes in it and planting trees in it because this was all like really pretty lawn before. And now it's just tons and tons of fruit trees and gardening experiments. So my wife is very patient with my experiments and it's turning out decent. So I'm sure she's not too offended. All right, this is the dog land back here. Let's see if my dogs come out. I have 5 Australian Shepherds, so they're probably gonna come out and see what I'm doing. This is one of their foods or water spots. So this was actually to capture water for wildlife, and my dogs drink from it, which is strange because I have a really nice automated watering system for the dogs that just brings fresh water from the house. And instead of getting the city water that's, you know, treated with chlorine or whatever they stick in it, the dogs prefer the rainwater. So I guess that's probably not surprising. But my wife gets annoyed because they'll come over here and drink this, you know, rainwater, mosquito water, whatever you want to call it, instead of drinking the city water. So it kind of makes me wonder what we're drinking if the dogs prefer to drink, you know, nasty looking rainwater instead of drinking the city water. It might just be convenience too. All right, so I have elderberries over here. Here's the trampoline. Yeah, definitely. So more black raspberry. Ooh, it's getting dark quick. So that's like the back side of my house. We put some lights back here, so it's a little bit more fun to come back here at night. Lots of elderberry. It's probably getting hard to see. I'm gonna check on the pond. I got a few mosquito fish from the local pond. Don't tell anyone. I don't know if that's illegal. But I got a bunch of mosquito fish because, you know, mosquitoes go nuts. And it's too hard to see because it's so dark. But they had babies, and so now I have like 5,000 fish back here. Like, it's insane. You put your feet in the water and the fish come over and they try tasting your feet. Like they think they're piranhas or something. You can kind of see some moving around, but it's just hard to see them. A lot of random stuff's falling in the water because it's raining. It has this canopy of hackberries and walnuts and what else I got up there? Looks like an ash tree. But yeah, this is mostly rainwater, but I still have to top it off just because the dogs love to come and jump in this, and animals and stuff. We'll have squirrels and random things are always over here. I'll see on my security camera just random stuff coming in, drinking the water and playing in here. I wish I had frogs. Like, what I really wanted was more aquatics, not aquatics, what am I trying to say? More amphibians, just to create that ecosystem. I feel like there's a lot of, there's a hole in the ecosystem here for frogs. I don't really see any frogs ever. Yeah, definitely fun to have a pond. Really good for peace of mind too with dogs. Because, you know, if something bad was to happen, it's nice to know that, you know, my emergency water isn't going to go to keep the dogs alive. They can just drink out of the pond for a month or something. And here in Missouri, it rains probably at least once a week. So it'd be unlikely to ever completely dry out. Because I think that pond holds like 1,500 gallons of water or something. I did the math once. This is a little crabapple tree. And I actually did a little graft on it right here. And it's growing, but it looks like the other branches are growing way stronger, and I haven't really. This one's kind of neglected. It's mostly rootstock crabapple, and then more elderberries. This was my main elderberry patch. Oop, another elderberry. Look at that thunder. This over here is my main elderberry patch. But this one is really thick. But I sell the cuttings from this elderberry patch on Facebook Marketplace. I think last year I ended up with like somewhere ridiculous amount of cuttings. I think I had like 600, and I was selling them for, maybe it was 300. I think I was selling them for like $2 each, and ended up having a farmer that just bought my entire inventory. So that was kind of cool. But I gave him a discount, so I didn't get as much money as I was hoping, but he was really excited because he just bought like 5 acres and wanted to start an elderberry orchard. And so I sold them all to him, and sounds like he's doing really well with his elderberry orchard. But they're super easy. Like if you've ever done elderberry cuttings, you literally just need a 2-node cutting, and you just bury one node and have the other node just barely sticking out of the ground. And they root up so easy. This is all boysenberries. So if you've ever been to Knott's Berry Farm in California, shout out. This is all boysenberries. Oh yeah, you buy elderberry from health food stores, it's ridiculously expensive. And it's so easy to grow. At least it is here. I don't know if it's easy to grow everywhere, but here it's like a weed. Like I'll literally have elderberry just popping up in my lawn. So back here I seeded a whole bunch of wildflowers and things. What you're looking at here is mostly black walnut. So black walnut tree, black walnut, black walnut, black walnut. Those are all walnuts that squirrels buried that didn't get eaten. And then this is all violets. These are all edible. Violet leaves are edible. And I actually mowed this a few weeks ago, but I had a whole bunch of other wildflowers because I got one of those mixes from Tractor Supply that has like, I don't know, it was like 5 pounds of random native wildflower seeds, and I just broadcast them everywhere. So I had tons of random stuff popping up in my chaos garden. So pretty much my whole yard is just chaos. But it's so therapeutic to just kind of go out and walk around in the chaos and forage for berries and things. So this right here is pokeweed. So it's a misunderstood plant. Ooh, that was bright lightning. Misunderstood plant, but the berries, believe it or not, are anti-inflammatory. So you can actually use them as medicine. You know, one berry is roughly equivalent, according to this book I read on Native American medicine, to 200 milligrams of ibuprofen. So you can kind of use the berries for an ibuprofen. So obviously if you eat too many, they are toxic and, you know, damage your kidneys or something. So don't experiment unless you know what you're doing. But definitely good for back pain. All right, it's getting dark. Look at that sunset. Nothing like Arizona sunsets though, but still pretty. And thanks for joining me in the chaos.